Well, I guess living on the road, you've got to become used to repairing, fixing your own things. So yesterday we got to Katherine. Last night we got into our camp at Boab Caravan Park. And one of the things I always do when we first get to a caravan park is set up and put the charger on the batteries to give the battery a full boost. We're good for batteries for about a week. And we've been off grid for about 5 days. So I used the solar panel that's sitting there when the sun's out in full peak, and it hasn't been much on our trip, but today and yesterday, yeah, it's pumping 13.5 volts straight into the battery. So a couple hours of that and they're full. But I normally rely on this battery charger, and I've had this battery charger for, I don't know, maybe 10 years. And I know in Katherine, if I buy one, it'll be a few $100s, and they're only worth about 40 bucks. So yeah, I plugged it in last night and the lights come on, but there's no one home, but there's no charging coming out of it. So I've got a trusty little Torx bit in the back. You can see it's not a screwdriver, it's actually the shape of that head is called a Torx bit. So you can see that one hanging out. So I'll take all the back of it off, and there's 4 screws in the front. I'll take all the front of it off and have a look at the electronics and see if I can see either a dry solder, a solder that's come undone, or maybe there's a fuse in there, or if I can see anything at all, I might be able to fix it. Otherwise it's got to go in the bin, and I will have to buy another one. But I gave one to a mate in about the first 2 weeks of our holiday. I bought a brand new one and put it in the car and brought it with us. And a mate in Corey and Taylor, if you're watching this, I'm talking about you, Corey. He was having some battery trouble, so I just, the morning they were leaving, I threw him a brand new battery charger. I put it on his steering wheel and he found it, and he was very thankful and all that. And then I found out weeks later he didn't even need it. So we're seeing him in Darwin in 3 days, so hopefully I might even be able to get it back off him if he's not using it. But I'll try and repair this one and see how we go. Yeah, so if you're wondering what the inside of a battery charger looks like, here it is. That's just the full aluminium cover, the deck that goes on. The front and the back just screw on and off. You can see in there's a few funny looking components, computerized stuff, electronics. There's a few little capacitors and resistors, and that green board down the bottom's like a full circuitry board. And doesn't come out unless you break the joins on each side. So I'm not going to do that, because then I know it won't ever work. So, but just to look underneath at all those dry solders, it all needs to, at any dry solders, it needs to come out. But I think that's all it would be, because all the little components in there are actually very, very reliable. But yeah, at this very moment, I have my doubts. There is something wrong that's beyond me. So I've tweaked a few things and moved a few things, and I can't see anything broken. I'm going to plug it back in and try it. And other than that, it'll be going in the bin. But that's what the inside of a battery charger looks like. Like the lights here, they all light up. But the single lights from left to right, which tell you how charged your battery is, no action there. So yeah, she could be going in the bin. So that's it. Plenty of lights, but no action over here. So I'm just testing it now with the voltmeter, and it's showing 0. Pretty much 0. So anyway, that's life. Time for a new battery charger. I don't know what made me look up, but just trying to fix that battery charger, and there's like 10 wedge-tail eagles just above Margaret and I in the caravan park. There's heaps of them. All wedge tails. I'll be there, mates, any day. I've no idea if this is going to work or not with those eagles, but you never know. Wedge-tail eagles, they're bloody everywhere up here. The solar panel, give you an example of how good these solar panels are. That's 13.8 into that one battery, and I'll give it a couple of hours and I'll swap it over to this battery. This is the battery that runs the 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter. And that's what I charge the chainsaw batteries with, the drone batteries, and it's as an emergency, if the first battery was ever to go flat, I have other little cables that run around the back here, and I can join them to this battery with these alligator clips that are on the charger. That's given up the ghost. That charger's rubbish, but I'm giving it one more go. I was getting 1.3 volts out of it, but you know, over the whole day it might charge that battery at that rate. I don't know, but I'm testing it. But yeah, there's another little inverter in there, power point. This is the electronic department of our caravan. There's a few spare fuses there because I've fused all the wiring and that when I put the batteries in and wired it all up. Bit of a, you know, jumper leads. There's a log splitter. There's a tomahawk, some firewood, ramps. There's a brand new pair of boots there. There's a shower and toilet screen there. Bit of rope. There's a bit of everything in this old girl. Plenty of spare firewood for while we travel. There's a night or two's firewood there when you're running, you know, a couple of big lumps like that. And it's all a bit of fun. We've even got the nice special carpet to go on the ground when we haven't got concrete. So if it's more than one night, I set the green carpet up, but or green turf if you like. It's nice on your feet. But yeah, when we've got concrete, we don't set it up, or if we're in the bush for one night, we don't set it up. But other than that, the green carpet goes down. It's lovely. Can't wait to get in that old girl in Darwin. We'll get some good fish up there. Might even get that surfboard out. Thanks, Kurt. Dodge a few crocodiles. How you going today, Margs?
Oh, loving life.
You're loving life, are you? Yeah. Yeah, enjoying yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Hurt your back, haven't you, love?
Yes, I have.
Working too hard?
Yeah, so I've got a hand wash set.
You got a hand wash stuff, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Terrible. Marg's done a load of washing and now the washing machines are being used. Just had to do a couple of things by hand because it's all getting used over there. We're going to go down to Madagascar this afternoon, which is about 100 k's south of where we are. There's another natural spring there. Yeah, I travelled up through Centre of Australia with the boys years ago, my boys, and we went there. It's a very nice little paradise. It's another place that they find crocodiles during the wet season, which fortunately, like I said yesterday, it's not the wet season, it's the dry at the moment. But you can see by the landscape on the road as you drive up, the amount of work that's gone into tunnels under the road, and you know, the natural waterways that, you know, Mother Nature's made. It's phenomenal. The amount of water that must rush through there is, yeah, the scale is, I can't describe it. It would be massive. It'd be like the worst flood you've ever seen on the TV. That's what it would be like. So yeah, we are hoping to see that in the next, maybe in the next flood. the next when the next wet starts, and the humidity up here gets to 100% every day. It is, you just get out of bed, you're sweating, you sweat all night, you're sweating in the shower, you know, whatever. You just sweat 24/7 because of the humidity is so high. But we can handle it. We're going to give it a go. But there's an airport about 10 k's to my right, and I had a look on the drone specs, and I'm just out. I'm actually out by a couple of k's. It shows you where you can and can't fly these drones for legal and liability reasons. So you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to have a little bit of nous about you when you're going to put a drone in the air, because the inevitable can happen. You can hit another helicopter or an aeroplane or whatever, and you know, things can go wrong. So you just got to check that sort of stuff before you go and fly your drones. And actually, you'll hear that in a sec. There's a jet engine he's just hit the gas. He's about to take off. But like I said, we're 10 k's away, and I can hear him as plain as day. But I'll put the drone up in a sec, and I'll give you a look at the caravan park, and you'll be able to see a fair bit of Katherine, but not the outskirts, because I'm not going to fly it around. I'm just going to put it up for a minute, give you a look, and for, you know, future reference for Margaret and I, and viewing in the future. We're obviously documenting our whole trip, so you know, that's got a lot to do with it. I'll put it up and give you a look. I reckon that aeroplane might have been touched down and motors went in reverse, because they're equally as noisy when they're slowing down to when they're taking off. But drone time. There he is. There he is. In the shade, mate. We've booked our boat cruise through the Katherine Gorges tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. So stay tuned. That'll be tomorrow's footage, but it's gorgeous. Big waterfalls, plenty of beautiful, gorgeous landscape, and hopefully some crocodiles.